Hey guys, this is Spiner here from AWMN News, here with my Spin Blast Season 1, Episode 12, Gang War Review. So this episode, surprisingly, this is kind of one where I think that I'm not going to have to talk about a dozen, quite a few different topics, for a Spin Blast episode. Now, that's not a bad thing. I'm not being like, okay, well, this episode, these things were kind of just average, they were kind of just, there was nothing really too great to them. That's not what I'm meaning. I'm just saying here that basically, I'm not having to take, but there was this twist, there was this reference, there was this scene. It's kind of, I feel like this is going to be a little more evened out. And I don't know if that's the episode itself, or if that's just me, but hey, let's just do this review and figure it out. So, what we had here, we had a little bit, just a little bit, with Axel, but I liked it that we got to continue that, just a tad in this episode, so we kind of knew what happened with him after that, because, after the last episode, because, we knew that he got beat on by Vertag, and if we didn't know what happened to him in this one, we'd be like, okay, so where's Axel? What's going on with him? So, it was good we got a little bit of him in this episode to kind of know what was going on his end. So, we had a little bit with Axel, we had a narco, more of a narco status story, we continued with that little interesting, side plot with Narco, doing his, work with the Jamax and, Envirotech and his, conflict with Lightworks, and the incident that occurred. So we had more of that, and we had more Splink's flashbacks from, I'm not gonna say anything, I was gonna say something, but yeah, I'll get to that. And we had, the gang war, which was the Jamax getting the gangs together to take a gang war down in the county, and gang war is actually a word, I was told this. This is actually a word, it wasn't put together, that's actually the name of the episode too, if you've heard that before. But gang war is actually a word. So, the gang war so basically it was a gang war brought together from the Jamax for all the gangs to figure out who owned Gamecat City. So, we had quite a bit of stuff this week. To start off, I think I'm going to move on to, Axel, because we only had about one scene with him in this episode, and, I feel like it's going to be the shortest topic to talk about, so we'll do that one first. But I do have some things to say about it. For one, as I said, I liked it that we got to see Axel in this episode again. I felt like if we'd left off from last episode with seeing him get beat on by Vertag, and then we didn't get to see him again, we'd be like, okay, where is he? What's going on? Where's Axel? How is he? After that, we didn't really know what had occurred. I'm glad we got an explanation here, in this episode, even if he was only in for a short amount of time for one scene. I felt like he still served his time and his purpose in this episode, and we even got to know kind of what had happened to him in his injuries, injury-wise, so we got to actually kind of know what happened. I did that, they included that, and we had a really good scene here. That's something I wanted to say. This moment we had with Splink and Axel. One thing I've liked that they've done with these two characters, that they developed throughout this season, is the bond and relationship between these two characters. They have a really good friendship, and you can see it. You see Splink, and he's, more serious, and Axel, he's kind of more lighthearted, and, hey, dude, kind of like Wires and Charlotte kind of in that tone. But, you would think, okay, well, I can see these guys not being, the best of friends, but, they may not always act like it around each other, but you can tell, just by their bond, you can have the way that when something happens, when Axel is kidnapped by an enemy of Splink's, he goes out to save him, and he's really concerned. So you can tell that he does care about Axel, and Axel cares about him, and they just have they've had a really good growing, friendship in this season, and I really like it how they've done it, and this scene really showed it. We got to see Splink's, concerned for Axel, and we saw, Axel, just not taking it seriously like he usually does, still even kind of joking while he's got a broken rib and a concussion. He's still making jokes like he usually does, not taking it seriously. And we got a really good moment between the characters here, and we got to see their personalities again, how they always are. So, overall, this scene, really good. Got an explanation for where Axel was, really great character performances, and a continuation to the growing bond between the two characters. So, yeah, I liked what we got with Axel this week. So, moving on from that, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about, Narco. So, to start out, we had, the police, we've known throughout this episode, and I believe in the last one, that the police have been looking in, well, I think since the incident happened, actually, the ACPD, if I'm getting that right, Amtech City PD, yes, ACPD, the ACPD has been trying to figure out what occurred during the Lightworth incident. Nobody really knows besides Anarcho and the Animax and Splinks. So, they are on a constant chase to figure out who did it. And in this episode, we had the police, an officer come in and question Anarcho on the incident, because he said that he told them the reason was for protocol purposes, but also for because that he learned that from the officer that Mr. Milo was suspicious of him. And I mean, honestly, I can see why. They've been in conflict, and we even got the explanation to why he would from Mr. Milo himself, that it was because they had been rivals in business. So, I mean, and yeah, they had been rivals in business, and Anarcho would be doing that because he's, the way he's been, his family has been the criminal business. I'm gonna move on to more of that. I'll talk about that a little later, but yeah, so we've got kind of an explanation to why he was suspecting him for doing it and such. So yeah, but we had a good moment at the start of this. Really good job with the police. I felt like the officer was doing it how I would see in real life. Good performance from him right there. Thought that would handle well, and this was a pretty interesting scene. We got to kind of see Anarcho trying to cover up his crime, and he's good. I'll tell you, Anarcho, he's good. I wouldn't suspect it, honestly. He seems like he's really keeping himself together while he's being talked to by the police and such. He really knows how to act. But yeah, so good character performances here, good scene. It was interesting, and I'm liking it. I'm really curious to see where he can go, and if they're gonna figure out that Anarcho is responsible for the Lightworks incident or not. I don't know. They didn't in this one, but we'll see. But moving on from this, we had a scene with Anarcho. This was right before the gang war happened. We see Anarcho go over to the Lightworks building just as everybody's leaving and going home because the gang war is gonna happen. Sorry. We see him drive to the Lightworks building, and talk to Mr. Milo. This started out kind of as a talk on why, Anarcho wondering why he was suspecting him, wanted to know his reasons, and Mr. Milo kind of explaining why, and then we see once again Anarcho turn how he usually does, because Mr. Milo taking the fact that Splinter went to prison, and the way Highwall was, yeah, the way Highwall was, and Splinter going to prison, he was taking the fact that the Empire's family has been related to criminal activity a decent amount of times in their past, so he was taking that Anarcho might be going for might be ending up in the same role. And that's actually a good reason. I can see his point. It really would seem kind of suspicious if you were in real life, if you were in rivalry with somebody whose family who had been related in criminal activity, then suddenly you have to somebody break into your place, they're trying to destroy your stuff. You would kind of suspect, okay, I kind of may know who this is. It would seem kind of like you'd think okay, well, that seems like a likely person. So I can kind of see his point. He was taking a realistic look at Anarcho, and I felt like that it was nice to have a good reason there instead of him just saying, well, I don't know, just because we've been rivals. Because any business rival could say that. I felt like there was kind of more of a reason because Splinter's family, Anarcho's whole family, the Empire family, had been related to criminal activity in the past with Anarcho's son and Highwall. So they had been kind of related to that kind of stuff. So it felt like a good reason. I was glad we just had a good, realistic reason there for why he would suspect him. And we got to see Milo actually holding himself against Anarcho, even though Anarcho was going to shoot him. But we saw that kind of he hesitated, and he put the gun down, and he left the money. he left the money he was going to offer him to make him not tell about the case, but he decided to keep it open, even though Anarko was gonna hold a gun to it, was holding a gun to him after. So, I mean, we had a really good, well done moment between the characters here. Milo's been in the show a lot more than I thought, and he's a good character. They've been working with him pretty well so far, and he's timed well in with the story. He's had a purpose, so I'm glad they did that for him. And Anarko, once again we saw him. One thing the actor's been doing a really good job at is making the tone switch. He starts off kind of like just, okay, well, I'm questioning, business, and then he takes the more serious and desperate, tone of deciding to just do what he has to. And, I mean, the actor has been doing a really good job with with his performance in that, for his character. And, I mean, really good performance. We had a lot of really good writing here, too, between the characters. The way it was written was done really well. So, yeah, Anarko's story, this all was pretty interesting. I mean, he dropped the money behind, left it to Milo, and basically didn't shoot him because he was hesitant after we saw that he had flashbacks of Splinks, basically, when Splinks left and was mad at him. We saw that he was, still, like, hesitant about doing it because he realized, I think in that moment, he's kind of taking in the realization after, seeing Navis leave and saying that he didn't want to work with, he didn't want to be a criminal, and seeing Splinks leave him. He realized, I think in that moment a little bit, that he was going maybe a little too far, with it. And I felt like that was a pretty good, thing to have, because, he wasn't a criminal at first, so it seems right to think, okay, well, he would be questioning, like, should he actually do it? Like, is he actually a criminal? So, yeah, really good. There was just really good scenes here, with the characters, Anarko and Milo, that we just had a really good moment here. I liked the story. It was really interesting. They did a good job with it this week. One last bit we had with Anarko was the officer who talked to him before coming in and asking him about something else, which happened to be that Navis was missing. They hadn't heard from him. Which we knew in the last episode, he had been kidnapped by the Zenimax, but we don't know where he is. So, we saw the police tell Anarko that Navis was missing, and to his surprise, I believe that Anarko didn't know Navis was missing. And, I am taking from this that he didn't. I don't know if he was acting, possibly. It didn't seem like it, though, the way he was acting, at the moment when he got told that Navis was missing. So, I'm kind of wondering what's going to happen with that. Is he going to talk to Vertet about this? What's he going to do? What's going to happen? So, I don't know, but we'll just see from here. That was a pretty interesting, ending to that story, in this episode. So, yeah, that was pretty interesting. Curious to know what's going to happen with Navis now. I wonder if he's going to be in the next episode, or anything's going to happen with that. I don't know. We'll see. But this overall Anarko story was interesting. We got a lot of great writing, character performances, and interesting continuation. So, moving on, I'm going to go to the flashbacks. The flashbacks were kind of mainly focused on one thing, and that was the Zenimax had already, we learned from this episode that this had been a few weeks later after what happened with Traxel. Sorry about that. And they were apparently stepping up their game, getting into higher businesses and robbing from them. So we learned in this episode that they were going to try to head for Empire Tech next. So I'm pretty sure you all knew what that meant. Since Highball was running the business at this time, they were giving Splinks his chance for revenge and to also get the password to the building so they could get in. So we were finally getting the confrontation again with Splinks and Highball. We knew what was going to happen. We finally had that happen again in this episode. We finally had that happen in this episode, and I was really looking forward to it. So, did it let down? Well, we got to the moments of Highball driving in the car. First off, pretty good moments with the gang at the start again. Once again, saw all the gang members. Each acted their own personality. Good moment there with them. felt like it was all, nice game moments again. Jam actually did a good job. So, yeah, moving on to what I was talking about before, we got to a point where Highball's driving his car, and a wheel gets blown out. Driver goes out to, get to the back, fix it. Highball, is sitting in the car, and then it goes silent when he's asking the guy, if he's alright. After he hears a noise at the back of the car, no reply. We knew what had happened here. At least I did. I knew Splink had, either knocked the guy out or had done something with him. Because he wanted Highball to get out of the car, so I knew what was coming. And then Highball got out of the car, went to the back and realized that the guy was tied to a tree, with duct tape on his mouth, I believe. And Splink was there, Splink hit him and basically slammed him to the ground, shoved him to the ground, I think, or hit him to the ground. And they started off a scene, let me say, this was really good. We had a lot of really good writing in here, for the characters. I liked a lot of the stuff they said to each other. It was really good. I felt like that they really did a really great job with that, fantastic job with the writing that the characters had in this. We're talking to each other for the first time again since Splink had joined the gang. And that Highball was readying himself, basically, for this to happen because he was waiting for Splink to come after him. I felt like was, I don't know, I just liked how that was. I liked that he was basically, he was expecting Splink would come after him again, and so he was readying himself, combat-wise, to be able to stand up against him and to fight him. So, I mean, that's the thing though. See, I mean, you're thinking like, to fight him? Yeah. To my surprise, Highball and Splink actually had a fight scene here. Well, for one, with the talk, before I actually took a quote out from Highball I like. I think this is gonna be my first Spin Blast quote I ever wrote down, but I'll probably go to the TV quotes, post we have on AWMN.com, so you guys can go check that out. I'll probably post it sometime soon. I don't think I posted that Down Kings one I told you guys about, if you heard about that. I haven't posted that one yet either. A little bit slow on that, but might need to get nice Shaw to help me with that. We'll see. But you guys can check that there when I have it. But another good quote. But anyway, yeah, we got a surprising battle. A battle to my surprise that Highball and Splink actually fought each other. And we actually had an even battle here, 50-50 then. They were doing even with each other. And it turned off in a pretty good battle. I mean, there was some really good choreography here. It was really serious. And I mean, it was the first time we were seeing them come together again. They were both mad at each other. Splink was mad at Highball. We knew we hated him. And Highball never liked Splink. So we just saw the two come together and fight each other, go at each other. And, just a really good fight. I mean, when after Splink had kind of got him down, he told Splink the password, and they were getting ready to go into I mean, they had the password to get into Envar Tech, and Splink took... Oh, well, for one, I was fixing to miss a moment that I'm so glad I did not miss. The way he took down Highball before he told him the password, man, I'm glad I did not miss that, was he threw his yo-yo his father gave him at Highball and hit him in the head with it. This was cool because it signified, kind of was a foreshadowing that was gonna be Splink's weapon in the future, and it was just really cool that was kind of one reason to like why he chose to use yo-yos, because that was the first time he used. Sorry about that. A low battery screen came up. Anyways, the yo-yo was the first time he used it, and he realized it could be a formidable weapon. So, I mean, it was pretty cool that they included that in there, and I liked it that was the way one of the ways it came into the reason he used it. It was just a really cool moment, and I think that was a good way to do that. That was cool. So, I mean, moving on from here, anyways, I passed the password part. We had a moment, I believe, where Splink had I believe it was a knife. I don't know. I think it was. I mean, I'm not sure really what else it would have been. I believe that's what it was. And he was going to stab Highwall and kill him, basically. And Highwall was telling him to do it, and he didn't. Because, you know, Splinks, I knew he wasn't going to. He wanted to. I mean, you could tell Splinks hated him with every fiber of his being. But he did not do it because he did not want to turn into Highwall. And Highwall was saying that they were the same. And that he was going to show him that he was like him. And Splinks did not want to be like Highwall. So, I mean, he just stopped and realized that he was not going to go. He was not going to become like him. And this was also kind of a foreshadowing that Splinks wasn't going to turn himself to a criminal. He kind of already had been a little bit with what he'd done before that, but he wasn't going to go as far as turning into what Highwall was and going as far as he did in that way. But yeah, so overall, the flashbacks, this was really good. That scene with Highwall and Splinks totally lived up to what I was hoping for, and I mean, we got a really surprising battle between them. That was really cool. A lot of really good choreography, really good character writing and performances. Highwall and Splinks, fantastic jobs with their performances, guys. You did amazing. Just a really good scene. We got really good flashbacks this time, and I'm curious to see where he's gonna go now that the Zenimax have the Envirotech password, passcode to the building. So, curious to see where that's gonna go. Another thing like the Anarcho story. Got a lot of stuff that we're curious to see what's gonna happen next with. But yeah, really good flashbacks. Great writing, performances, and continuation. So that was good. Okay, well, that just brings us to the last thing, which was the kind of big main part of the story, which was the gang war. So this started off with the Zenimax Vertide talking to another gang leader. Kind of would hope we get a name for him at some point. I know he probably won't be in the show again, but I mean, I kind of hope that we just, you know, hear his name somewhere, or whether it's an action figure or some kind of a description. I don't know, I kind of want to know what this guy's name is, because he was in the episode a lot. But yeah, we saw him talking to this guy, and this is what basically he made the, deal with him. The, basically, they set up where they were going to be doing this gang war to figure out who owned Gamtech City. So, and Vert had told him to get it out to the police, which they did. He actually set up, the gang leader that we saw talking to Vertide, he actually set up a message to the police, talking to everybody in the city, telling them there was going to be a gang war, and that they were going to figure out who owned this city, that they had their divided sides at first didn't mess with each other, but now was going to be the time that they brought it out into the public. So, excuse me. So, I mean, we have him bring it to the police. There was a good moment there, there was intensity in the scene. The actor did a good job. This guy, for one, the actor who did this gang leader, I really liked his performance. He did a really good job as a gang leader. I felt like he really had the feel to him, and he talked like one. You know, he said like "sup," and just the way he talked. Like, I mean, I can't recall. I want to recall what he said in the message about the gang war happening, but I can't remember exactly. But it was good. He really did a good job. And the writers did a good job with setting up his script. So, I mean, yeah, he had some really good moments for his character in this episode. So, I mean, yeah, so we had the police kind of know about it, and that was when it led to the evacuation of the city. Everybody getting into their houses. I mean, because they at first were going to bring everyone out of the city, but they would not have time, and I can totally see that. I mean, you're not going to be able to get the whole town, the whole city, everybody there out of the town in before midnight, which is when the gang war was going to take place, as we heard from the gang leader. So, I mean, oh yeah, and by the way, at the start of this, we saw that Jace was actually listening in on Vertide and the gang leader, about the gang war. So that's how he knew about it as well, before the message came up to the police. So, and that's how also he knew the Zenimax had been involved, because later on we hear him, Jace tell Splinks that the Zenimax are involved with it, and that kind of basically told you that kind of allowed Splinks to be able to know that this was part of their plan. So, yeah, after the message came up. Everybody started getting into their houses, getting home for the gang war, to get in their houses and get safe in the shelter, and to just get out of the way of what was going to happen. The complete chaos that was going to take place. So, yeah, we had that happening, and Splinks and Jace talked a little while for it. Some good moments from here. I like the kind of team ups that we've been having with them. It's pretty cool. Jace's kind of guns and Splinks' yo-yos. It's a cool combination. I like it when we get their team ups where they work together to stop something. Always like how that goes. I'm glad we got to see that again in this episode. But yeah, we saw Splinks kind of realize that he couldn't set up a plan for this. He just had to jump in. And when the gang war started, we saw the gangs all ready up and go at each other. Guns, bats, knives, everything, just go out on each other. Full out gang war. Totally fit the word. The word totally fit. We saw the gangs going at each other, and then we see Splinks and Jace jumping. Really cool scenes here. For one, we got, some really cool moments with Jace and Splinks. Jace with his guns, he had a lot of really cool scenes, and Splinks, as well. He did some really cool yo-yo moves in this, scene, with this whole, battle. So, yeah, there was some really good choreography here. It was really cool, and we got to see Splinks battle that the gang leader who had sent the message out and was talking to Vertide. We saw him battle Splinks for a few minutes. There was also a really good choreography battle there too. I really like I'll talk about it in a minute. I need to finish talking about the gang war first. I'll get to the end of it. So we saw them battle. This whole gang war. Obviously, talk about the entire battle. Was cool. Really cool. We got to see all the gangs going at each other, and we got to see Splinks and Jace, some really cool choreography scenes with them, and the battle with that gang leader, we can get a name for him. That gang leader against Splinks was also really cool too. It was really good. So yeah, the gang war. I think they did a really good job with it. It was really cool, and I think that it worked by the end when they realized that that one gang leader, if you remember the specific guy I'm talking about, that one gang leader, he says that they've won, and you realize the Zenimax had not been in the battle, and you realize that they were standing back watching while the gangs were destroying each other, so that they could take top position. That was definitely a Zenimax move. Glad they did that. I'm glad they didn't take the original turn of the Zenimax just jumping in, fighting with them, and winning. I'm glad they took kind of a smart turn with the Zenimax in making them basically secretly hide out of the fight while they had the gangs destroy each other and then kind of take the win in the end. Felt like that was really a Zenimax move. It just really felt like something they would do, Vertide and the rest of them. Just felt like something they'd do. So, yeah, I definitely, think that was a good way to end that. And we saw that they were Vertide was going to shoot the gang leader, but he gets away. I'm kind of glad about this, honestly. I didn't really want to see this guy die. He's interesting, and he really had I like his personality, what the actor did with the character. He was just enjoyable, and I would definitely like to see him again, in the show. It just, he was a good, he would make a good villain to be able to see again at some point. I feel like they could make a good use with him. So, I don't know about next season or not, maybe. I think he would work if there's a way for him to put him in, but I think he would be a good villain, at some point. Whether or not he's a main villain or kind of a side villain, a couple episodes or something, I don't know. But I feel like he'd be good to bring in again, so glad they didn't kill him. Glad that they made it where he could maybe step in again at some point. Glad they left that option. So, yeah, I like his character a lot. Anyways. So, after this, after they realized that the Zenimax had won, we see Splinks he's definitely mad about this. It's another win for the Zenimax, and they are continuing their plan. And we see after this that that Vertide is telling them, the rest of the Zenimax and Skywolf and such, that they are going to move on to domination of Amtech City, basically now. That they have the gangs out of their way. They're ready to step in and take the city for themselves. And take down Spin Blast, which is one of their last goals now. To get the city. So, I mean, overall, Gang War, I felt like it was a good story this week. I mean, there was a lot of action in it, but I felt like it was kind of, it had its purpose. And it brought us a good character. The gang leader, he was a good character and interesting, and it leads us another character we might want to see again at some point. It'd be cool to see again. So, we got a good character, a cool battle, definitely awesome, and I mean, we got a good continuation of the story that actually had a good purpose to it. Yeah, so, overall, Gang War, I think it was really good this week. I think it definitely worked for an episode, and it definitely served its purpose. So anyways, guys, I think that covers everything. I mean, we got some really good moments with, Splink and, Axel. We got, more of Anarcho's interesting side of the story, with a kind of a cliffhanger ending. We got the flashbacks, really good, surprising, scenes with Highwall and Splints, and, we got the Gang War, the really cool battle, and the twist at the end kind of with the Zenimax, taking the smart wing, and the introduction of a good possible future villain. So, overall, it was a good episode. I liked it a lot. I felt like they did the best that they could with this, in the series. So, now as for score, let me think on that. I don't think I've got a specific score in mind, so let me put my thoughts together and see what I think I'm coming through with. Which I think I'm getting a yes. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go for a 9.7 right now. I might look over some of my old Spin Bash